Point blank, there's no exercise more overused in every single group fitness class, in every single CrossFit class, but very often it is not the best way for you to go. It's great to get a full body weight exercise into your routine, but the burpee misses the mark in a variety of ways. So get rid of it. We're gonna talk about why and tell you how to do better.
And before you even get into the reasons why it's not a great option, it tends to be a space filler and a crutch for a lot of coaches when it comes to those sessions. So if you're ever in a class and you're constantly doing burpees in between sets of different things, it's usually just to absorb time, which doesn't mean that it's making you better. And this all dials into the three main reasons on why we want to fix it with what's wrong with the burpee.
Very often it's a trainer crutch. If a trainer is insecure about their programming, they don't think they've made you sweat enough, then that's when they're gonna go to the burpee. But it's missing the mark, as David said. One of the key things it's missing, and I think what the biggest issue for me, is just all the force that you wind up having to absorb. You are dropping your body to the ground on every single burpee rep in this push-up position, except I'm dropping from standing all the way to the ground. And that's a lot of deceleration force that my wrists, elbows, and shoulders have to take. Over time, that's gonna wear me down, and it's not necessarily producing the best result. If I'm just gonna get my heart rate up and that's the only objective of the burpee, do I really need to put my body through all that? The answer is no.
This really dials into the next point, which is you don't have any real core stability when you meet that bottom point. Because it's so fatiguing and it's draining of all of your energy, most people aren't strict with that core stability at that baseline. So you see a lot of flopping and kipping and positions that aren't advantageous for you long term. So especially when you're fatigued out and you're low on energy and you're trying to maintain your form, you're putting your core stability in a really bad spot.
Exactly, especially on top of the fact that the way we often use the burpee is as this exercise that is meant to fatigue us, so that only invites us to be that much less disciplined about the core. A perfect burpee done with our abs tight and our glutes tight is not a bad move, but when we're doing those 40 seconds on, 20 off, when we're doing it as a filler exercise, as we said before, none of that core integrity is what you're focused on. You're just trying to survive. You never wanted to survive an exercise. The other problem with the burpee, it is viewed as this total body exercise, one of the best exercises that hits us from all angles, except it's missing a key angle. When we think about all the movement patterns our body is capable of, yes, we want to push, but even more than pushing, which happens as we push up from the burpee, we want to make sure to pull. There is zero upper body pulling component in a burpee, so it's just not the complete body weight exercise that people say.
Yeah, it's a lot of movement, but it's not a lot of action towards progress. And in exercise and fitness, one of the key things you should be asking yourself is, how is this gonna make me better on a daily basis? Am I getting stronger from this? And am I safer because I am doing this? And you obviously, without question, cannot answer those three questions in regards to the burpee in any moment.
Exactly, but our three alternatives cover your bases and you're still gonna get your heart rate up too.
If you're looking for better options other than the burpee, the first place you can start is bear crawls. Bear crawls are gonna emphasize core stability, movement through your pattern, and it's gonna keep taxing you in a way that is very, very different from how you would normally work yourself, because you have to move through space and because you're on all fours or even 6 points if you're not comfortable with that 4-point position. But it's gonna be something that really taxes your core stability and gets a little bit of that energy out of you in the same way that a burpee would.
Exactly, except the thing we erase with the bear crawl, and I love that we covered this note, is there is no deceleration force. We aren't throwing ourselves on the ground and battering our shoulders on every single time. We do get to develop some shoulder stability, which is an underrated quality of that. For our second replacement move, if we're trying to get our heart rate up and we want a total body act, let's go to something like a cardio row. Now, this is a very particular brand of cardio movement that's gonna cover our bases in the total body way that we actually need, because every single time that we row back, we're getting into that aggressive hip extension, we're getting the glute work that we need, and we're also getting that horizontal pulling action that's missing from the burpee. So the burpee does wind up being this overall total body exercise that works us in all these ways that we don't need to. The cardio row, yes, it requires a piece of equipment, but it's working our body in the exact way that it needs to offset life and to have us feeling great.
So if you're looking for another power option when it comes to substituting the burpee that also involves level changes, jump squats are a great option when it comes to that. Specifically, as you age, power training should be a key emphasis in your training because power is one of the quickest diminishing characteristics in the human body. You can also change your levels and get the most out of a fatiguing and exhausting experience, but you're actually gonna get benefits from it outside of it instead of absorbing all the stress of doing a burpee.
Exactly, and the burpee is great in that it is a power exercise. The thing that makes it work and the reason your heart rate winds up high is because you go from the ground to an elevated position. And we're doing that in the jump squat, but we get to do it more safely, we get to hit key movement patterns, and we get to do it in a more sustainable way. So stick with those 3 options because the burpee just isn't worth your time except in very, very, very small doses.